Mara Quince learned the rules of the frontier early. Don't get involved, don't ask questions, and never, ever interfere with contracts you didn't sign. The frontier didn't care if you were right. It cared if you were profitable. That was why, on the day she found the alien children, she tried, truly tried, to follow the rules. She was stationed on K-47, a marginal mining colony orbiting a dim orange star. The place existed because a rare mineral called Irixis formed naturally in its crust, and Irixis powered half the faster-than-light relays in human space. Corporations came for the rock, not the people. Certainly not for whatever else lived there. Mara was a logistics officer, former exobiology student turned paperwork specialist after student debt crushed her dreams of research. Her job was to make sure shipments moved on schedule and no one asked inconvenient questions. That was going fine until the sensor alert pinged from Sector 12. Unauthorized movement. Non-human signatures. She frowned, rerouted her display, and zoomed in. At first, she thought the readings were wrong. The heat signatures were too small, too clustered. Then she saw them, flickers of movement in a collapsed tunnel near an abandoned dig site. Probably pests, her supervisor muttered over comms when she reported it. Mark it for clearing. Clearing. Mara repeated. Automated sweep. You know the drill. She did know. She also knew what those sweeps did to anything living in their path. Mara hesitated, then did something she'd never done before. She went to look for herself. The tunnel smelled of dust and old metal. Her suit lights cut through the darkness as she climbed over rubble and twisted supports. The movement sensors flickered again, closer now. Hello, she called, feeling ridiculous. I'm not here to hurt you. The translator implant in her skull buzzed, searching for patterns. Something scuttled behind a rock. Then a small figure stepped into the light. It was beautiful in a fragile way. About the size of a human child, with elongated limbs, softly luminescent skin, and large, multifaceted eyes that reflected her suit lights like stars. Then another appeared. And another. 6 of them in total. Children. There was no other word for it. They huddled together, emitting soft, chiming sounds that vibrated through the air rather than traveling as normal sound waves. Her translator struggled, then caught fragments. Don't take us. Hide. The loud ones come. Mara's heart clenched. Hey, she said softly, kneeling to appear smaller. I'm Mara. I work here. I didn't know anyone lived this deep. One of the children stepped forward, braver than the rest. It tilted its head, studying her. You are not loud, it projected, the meaning imperfect but clear. I try not to be, Mara said, swallowing hard. Where are your parents? The chiming stopped. The bravest child lowered its gaze. Gone, came the simple reply. Mara closed her eyes. Of course they were. The species called themselves the Lethari, or something close to it. Native to K-47, they were subterranean, bioluminescent, and extraordinarily sensitive to vibration. Mining operations were catastrophic to them, not just disruptive but lethal. The adults had retreated deeper over the years, trying to shield their young. It hadn't been enough. By the time Mara finished listening to their fragmented story, she knew 2 things with absolute certainty. The automated sweep scheduled for the next day would kill them. And if she reported them, corporate protocol would classify them as biological interference. Extermination would follow. She returned to her quarters shaking. She could pretend she hadn't seen them. Let the rules do what they always did. Or she could break every rule she'd ever lived by. Mara didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she falsified a report. Sector 12 was listed as unstable, unsafe for machinery, pending geological reassessment. It bought her 48 hours at most. Then she contacted the only person she trusted enough to risk everything with. Jax Imani, an independent transport pilot who ran gray jobs, legal enough to exist, illegal enough to be useful. Before you say no, Mara said quickly, I need evacuation for 6 non-human miners from a restricted zone. There was a long pause. Miners? Jax repeated. Mara, what did you get yourself into? Something that matters. Another pause, then a sigh. Send coordinates. Getting the children out meant sneaking them past security, sensors, and corporate oversight designed specifically to prevent unregistered life from leaving a resource world. Mara forged passes. Jax rerouted cargo manifests. They moved only during shift changes, wrapped the children in vibration-dampening blankets, and used maintenance shafts no one had checked in years. The Lethari children trusted her with terrifying ease. You will take us to quiet? One asked as they waited in the dark, huddled close. Yes, Mara whispered. Somewhere safe.
Why?
She hesitated. Because someone should have done it sooner. On the final night, alarms blared. Corporate security had discovered inconsistencies. Someone had flagged Sector 12 for immediate sweep, early. Mara, Jax hissed over comms. You've got 10 minutes, maybe less. The tunnel shook as heavy machinery activated above them. The children whimpered, their light flickering erratically. Mara scooped up the smallest one and ran. They burst into the hangar as security drones descended, weapons powering up. Stop, a voice boomed. Unauthorized biological transport. Jax's ship roared to life. Mara didn't stop running. She leapt aboard just as the ramp closed, blaster fire scorching the hull. The ship tore free of K-47's gravity well under a hail of warnings and legal notices. Mara slumped against the wall, clutching the children as the stars stretched into hyperspace. She had done it. She had also just destroyed her career. The fallout was immediate. Mara was fired, blacklisted, and fined more credits than she would earn in a lifetime. Her name circulated through corporate systems as high-risk personnel. No station under corporate charter would hire her. She didn't care. The children were safe. Jax delivered them to a protected sanctuary world operated by a coalition of xenobiologists and independent governments, one of the few places willing to shelter non-aligned species. As Mara prepared to leave, the bravest child approached her. You'll go back to loud places, it said. Probably, Mara smiled sadly. Then remember us. I will, she promised. She thought that was the end of it. She was wrong. 3 months later, Mara was living in a cramped habitat on the edge of nowhere, scraping by on odd jobs and regret-free nights. That's when the message arrived. It bypassed her personal comms, her firewalls, her identity locks. It appeared directly on her neural display, encoded in a format she'd never seen. Mara Quince, it began. Her breath caught. You acted when it was costly. This has been noted. A set of coordinates followed. And a warning.
Come alone.
The coordinates led her to a neutral station beyond corporate space. Ancient, vast, and unmistakably non-human. Its architecture hummed softly, resonating in a way that made her bones tingle. She was escorted into a chamber of living crystal. Waiting for her were not one, but many, beings like the children she had saved. Taller now, older, and behind them, presiding with quiet gravity, stood an elder whose light burned steady and deep. Mara Quince, the elder projected, voice layered with harmonics. I am Self, voice of the Lethari. Mara swallowed. I didn't know anyone else survived. We did, Self said.
Barely.
Because of you. Images flooded her mind, not painfully, but vividly. The children growing stronger. Lethari refugees emerging from hiding. Allies responding once proof of survival existed. Your act changed our extinction trajectory, Self continued. But it also revealed something else. A shift rippled through the chamber. Humanity has reached a threshold. Your kind stands between extraction and stewardship. Mara frowned. I don't understand. Selth extended a limb. The chamber transformed, revealing star maps, trade routes, influence networks. We are not the only ones watching, the elder said. Many ancient species observe emerging civilizations, deciding whether they will become caretakers or locusts. Mara's heart pounded. Your corporations failed this test, Selth said plainly. You did not. She shook her head. I'm just one person. Selth's light brightened. Exactly. The reward was not credits. It was not power. It was responsibility. The Lethari offered Mara a position as a human liaison to the Quiet Council, a coalition of elder species who guided, nudged, and sometimes intervened to prevent young civilizations from destroying themselves or others. She would have protection, resources, and access beyond anything she'd imagined. In exchange, she would speak for humanity, not as it was marketed, but as it truly was.
Flawed.
Divided. Capable of cruelty. And also capable of extraordinary compassion. You're trusting me with a lot, Mara said quietly. Selth inclined its head. You trusted us with everything. Years later, when mining corporations were forced to adopt new interspecies protocols, when sanctuary worlds became protected by ancient accords, when humanity was no longer whispered about as a rising threat but spoken of as a species worth guiding, no one traced it back to one woman in a tunnel on K-47. Except the children. They visited her sometimes, their light bright and joyful, no longer afraid of loud places. And when Mara watched them play beneath alien stars, she understood the true reward she'd been given. Not shock. Not recognition. But the knowledge that when it mattered most, she had chosen to be human in the best possible way.